Hey guys, Snooker here. So I want to put a video together showing you two very important ingredients that when combined together can help eliminate or reduce a whole bunch of ailments that you may come across in a stuff hit the fan situation. Okay. Of course, the two elements you see are right in front of you, or excuse me, the ingredients you see are right in front of you. First will be the honey. I've already talked about honey in a recent video, and I'll post a link at the bottom for those that haven't seen it yet. But also another one of the ones that preppers really overlook, ground cinnamon. Ground cinnamon is a good, potent ingredient that has been used for years, at least cinnamon has been used for years to help alleviate a whole bunch of ailments. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you go out there and do some research online while you have it and just find out exactly all that ground cinnamon could do. What I'm going to do today, though, is talk a little bit about these two powerful ingredients, and I'm going to show you some recipes that you could use in your stuff hit the fan situation. Because once again, when stuff does hit the fan, you just have to understand that you can't just go walk and drive to a clinic and be taken care of and not expect to pay a very hefty sum for it, or let alone even have the chance to go there. And not just the clinic, I'm also talking about the dentist as well. The recipe I'm about to show you here will help alleviate the pains of toothaches. And also just keep in mind that just because it says it expires by the best by date doesn't necessarily mean it expires. This being a spice, it could last a little bit longer past expiration date. The manufacturer's just telling you that it's not going to be at its most top quality past that date. Doesn't mean you necessarily can't use it. You should be fine. 20 years down the road, I don't know about that. But in the meantime, you should be okay to use cinnamon and honey for that matter. So now to the recipes. What I want to show you first is exactly how you can help reduce the pain of a toothache. And let me tell you, anyone that's ever been through a toothache before knows pretty much how painful one of those things can be. Especially if you're not able to reach a dentist and you have to make do with what you have in the meantime. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pouring some of this honey that I have in here. Yes, this is processed honey, came from Walmart. And of course I agree that raw honey is better. The only thing is, depending where you buy it from, how much does it cost, things like that. So for me, I just use a processed one. Not going to be as good as raw honey, but it's easier for me, so that's what I stick with. Of course, you do what's best for you. Now, what I put in the bowl, I just put a nice little blob in there. I was looking for somewhere around a couple of tablespoons. And when it comes to the cinnamon, you do for the most part want to measure it out. That way you can also save it. And what I recommend doing is that first, is to go ahead, after you have your honey in there, to go ahead and use 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. So have at least 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon powder for you to put inside this little concoction we're about to create. So go ahead and get that set up. And of course I'm going to spill some. Yeah, there it is. A little more than a teaspoon, but that's okay. Now, once you have your 1 teaspoon and at least about 3 tablespoons, if not more, of the honey, you're just going to mix it up. It's going to be a nice little thick gooey paste. If you feel like there's just too much cinnamon in there, like this is kind of looking like, you need to put a little bit more honey in. And you really just want to get a nice little liquid paste going on. Here we go. Of course, just keep stirring that up some. Alright. Now what you could do is, if in a event you have a toothache, you can just take some of this thick goo and you can just dab it on that tooth. And when you're dabbing it on the tooth, you just kind of want to let it sit there for a little bit. At least about 3 to 5 minutes, however your saliva can handle it. Just kind of let it sit there on that tooth, and it should help relieve some of the pain in that tooth. You could do this about 3 times a day, or until the toothache just really kind of disappears. So hopefully that'll help for you. As well, if you're suffering from any type of cold or anything like that, you can then take either this same recipe and use a spoonful, or you could use 1 tablespoon of honey and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And you can mix that together, and that'll help get rid of some common colds you may have. Cinnamon and honey, I mean, they're a real great combination. You know, both of them just have like antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, functions with them. They can also help weed out bladder infections. I mean, this is just something that I keep mentioning that preppers are going to overlook is ground sugar. And like I said, guys, go out there and do your research. That's what I do. Anytime I make videos, I always do research. I test it out myself. And I got to tell you, after taking some honey and cinnamon together, I do feel a little bit better. They also say that it can help reduce clotting in your arteries. And if you think about it, being one of those natural products, I wouldn't be surprised. Long story short, though, whatever your prepper, your SHTF situation, make sure you have these two together. Don't overlook them, because when you combine these two together, they can help alleviate a good amount of ailments that you just definitely don't want to deal with at a time like that. Now, hopefully this video is informational to you. And as always, guys, please comment, rate, subscribe. And until then, I'll see you soon. So stay safe, and later.